Okay, so you all have a copy of the agenda in front of you, and so we're at point number 3, and we'll move on to B, preview the objectives in the agenda. So today's a special kind of retreat for the commission, and Councilmember Rocha's memo has been referenced already, and it really, that is what's driving the retreat today, is the memo and particular items. And we will definitely address those items today. In terms of size of the commission and the appointment process, the caucus process, and wanting to get your feedback and input into that. As we were developing the process for today and the agenda for today, so I met with staff and we talked some things through, and then met with the city manager, council member, and also met with your chair and vice chair. And so met with Pete and met with Nicole. There you are.
Hello.
A little blind over
That's
here
fine.
on the side of the table.
No
Sorry
worries.
about that.
No worries.
So there are actually a couple other things that are going to happen today outside of Councilmember Rocha's memo and what he's looking for, and that ties in specifically to the purpose of the commission. As I heard Pete and Nicole talk, that was a really driving issue for them. What is the core purpose of the commission today? So we're going to take that item up as well as size, as well as the caucus process. So what we're trying to do here is satisfy what the council member wants and what he's directed staff to return in terms of a set of recommendations, and then what your chair and vice chair are saying are important items, points to talk about and discuss today, particularly around purpose. So with that as a general overview, the specific objectives today, we will hear from Colleen Winchester from the attorney's office on the legal framework for commission, so she'll present a little bit, and then we'll have some Q&A. Zulma will present on commission bylaws. She'll sort of play the role of a city clerk today, and then we'll have Q&A around that. Is Ken here? Okay, so.
I'm looking. He's probably on his way.
Okay, and then as the entry point into the commission discussion today, which will really be the heart of what we're doing here today, Ken, and I'm going to mangle his last name there.
Podgorczyk.
Thank you. We'll talk a little bit about the history of the commission, and that will set up the discussion of purpose. What is the purpose, the core purpose? And part of this is there was the original charge. How far has the commission moved away from that charge or not moved away from it? So that's a discussion for the commission to have. And to have that discussion, we'll break into small groups. After we hear the presentations and hear from Ken, we'll break into small groups and then everybody gets an opportunity to provide input. So the first thing to talk about in the small group, purpose of the commission, then size, then the caucus process. Talking to Pete and Nicole, we also thought it would be helpful not to do work plan items because you're already dealing with your work plan items. In fact, there's your work plan for this current fiscal year, and then you've got your draft work plan items. We're not going to drill down on those today because you're working that process through during your regular meetings, but we do think would be a great opportunity in the spirit of stepping back, taking stock of things. What were some lessons learned around the work plan, how you developed the work plan last time, how you developed the work plan this time? And there's one other item I think that this speaks to, and that is relates to the purpose of the commission, and that's the scope. And that was also part of Councilmember Rocha's memo, the scope of the commission in terms of the issues you're taking on and projects you're taking on. Are those appropriate? Are those within the charge of the commission? So that'll be a great opportunity to talk a little bit about scope as well. So, and then we'll do wrap up. We'll have a wrap up segment here, and there was a question about the results, the input that comes out of the meeting today. Is there an opportunity for you, and what this commission does so well in terms of the partnering and linkage to the community, to get other community input into this? Not just the commission's input, but other community input, and that was also part of Councilmember Rocha's memo. Not that he was saying you had to do that. Does the commission want to elicit additional input from the community on these questions of size, of appointment, caucus process? Yes, you have a...
So it could be that the topics that we'll cover will already address these, but I just want to double check. So I think that the memo implied that there are issues with staff being able to support us effectively. And I think that it might be implied in the questions, but I don't see, maybe it's part of the number 5, commission bylaws and commission support, where we'll get a better understanding of the impact of certain tasks that we require and how that translates into staff hours, for example. And so I wondered about that, and then also about the work plan. For me, it's a process question as well. So for me, it's not just so much are the items that we're handling within scope, but is this the way that we should be handling them?
Yeah.
And will we delve into that?
Absolutely, and when you're in the small groups, I think that's great to talk about it, especially in terms of your purpose. Are we actually achieving what our purpose is, and do these work plan items, do they move us in that direction, or do they move us into a different direction? Let me just check in. Zulma, will you talk a little bit about staff capacity?
Yeah, I'll just provide an overview of what the expectations are for the other commissions and how that would apply here as well.
Yeah, to that point, because this was kind of the first thing that I heard when I saw the memo and some of the other issues regarding staffing support, and I can appreciate the number of boards and commissions that the city manager supports. I mean, there's several. I mean, there's dozens of them. I understand that. However, it would have been nice to get maybe some earlier feedback on this about support, because I don't know how you appropriate your time among all the commissions. I don't know how you collect your time. I mean, I have to go by my own personal experience in my job. I know how I collect my time and charge across different efforts. But maybe in your description you can possibly tell us how you do that, and then how you apportion your time. For example, for the neighborhood commission, I did just a ballpark. I came up with, you got 10 meetings a year, 2 hours. That's 20 hours. You got prep time for the meeting. You got after the meeting support. You got agenda preparation. So it's 100 hours a year that you're appropriating for the neighborhood commission, or what? I don't know. But I'm getting into the weeds. No, I'm getting into the weeds. But when you come to me and say, hey, if you came to me and say, hey, we apportion.
We'll talk about it during that.
No, but we apportion 100 hours for you, or we're 150 hours. I can see that. You understand? I can see, hey, you're 50 hours over. What can we do to take off 50 hours? I can deal.
Well, we have to provide some flexibility. That's why it can't be black and white. We'll talk about it during that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
So one concern I have, and I think it's already sort of happening, is there aren't any times on this agenda.
Yeah.
And I have a hard stop at 1, and many of us do as well.
Absolutely.
This is not directed at you, it's directed at us.
Thank you. And